Greetings everybody and welcome to Madrid Ball. I hope you're safe and sound. Real Madrid have stumbled right at the midway point of the season. Our players look like they were still carrying the rust from the vacation, and it just didn't look like the players were turned on for the game. To no one's surprise, we again struggled against a low block, and Real Madrid just didn't have the sharpness and the finesse which is required to unlock such kind of defenses. We were second to the final balls, we lacked the intensity. It was definitely not the kind of start we expected, and what a poor way that is to start off the year. Getafe were able to stick to the game plan. They were able to ruffle the feathers of the Real Madrid players. They played like the Getafe we have come to know of in the past 5 years, and we can say the team in blue executed the game plan to perfection. They didn't put a single foot wrong, and there was plenty wrong about the team who are leading the title race at the moment. So in this video we'll do the post-match analysis of Getafe versus Real Madrid. We'll talk about the important happenings of the game, and without further ado, let's get started. And firstly, if we have a look at the lineup, there was Courtois in goal. In the back four, we had Militao, Alaba, Vasquez, and full-on Mendy. In the midfield, we had Kroos, Casemiro, and Modric. And in attack, we had Benzema, Asensio, and Rodrigo. And we'll skip the shout-out section today because none of you predicted a loss. But if we just shed some thoughts on the starting 11, Eden Hazard was once again left on the bench. And here, there can be two reasons why Ancelotti could have left Hazard out of the starting 11. Firstly, we had discussed in the match preview that Getafe, after having a poor start to the league, had started to pick some momentum and had started to play like their old self. They asserted their physicality on Madrid, they were committing tactical fouls, they were not holding back from bringing down the Real Madrid players, and probably Ancelotti would have predicted that. It's quite possible that Ancelotti still doesn't have faith in the physical prowess of Hazard. He may have been trying to protect him and may have been thinking about putting him on when the Getafe players get tired. Or there's another thing that could have happened. As we discussed in the previous post-match analysis, Eden Hazard had decent games the previous 2 times he started, but he didn't perform at an extraordinary level to nail down a starting spot, and I actually wasn't surprised to see Hazard on the bench. So Ancelotti stuck with Rodrigo on the left flank and Asensio on the right. It was an opportunity for Rodrigo to play in his preferred position. It's very rare that he gets a chance to play there because Vinicius for the past 2 seasons has been pretty much deployed in that position, but as for the performance of wingers, their influence also waned off as the match progressed. They couldn't create anything meaningful. We barely threatened Getafe from either flanks, but it's worthy of noting that both the players have just returned from COVID, and the virus does impact the physical prowess of the players. So to an extent, we can excuse them for the off night, but certainly we will need both of them to play at a much better level. And now if we talk about the first half in general, from the first minute itself, we could understand the game plan of Getafe. They were putting in rash tackles. Within 5 minutes of the game starting, there were fouls committed on Modric, Vasquez, Asensio. It particularly looked like Quique Sanchez-Flores had asked his players to bully the Real Madrid midfield. They brought down Kroos, Modric a number of times, and as for Modric, it did look like the Getafe midfielders were targeting him. They were trying to prevent him from pulling the strings. They kept a close eye on him, and he was a victim of a number of fouls, but in spite of the Getafe players trying to stop him, I did think that Modric had a decent game. He made some slick passes, he started a few transition attacks, came close to scoring, hit the crossbar, but what those tactical fouls meant was that there was no flow in the gameplay of Madrid. The fouls were disrupting Real Madrid's passage of play. The Getafe players were putting their bodies on the line. They had men back defending. They defended with a 5-3-2 setup, and truly seeing the Getafe display, it almost looked like Bordalas was managing those players. They had lost their identity under Michel, but since Quique Sanchez-Flores has come in, he has resorted to the style of play that has brought Getafe success in the past years. He made Getafe retain their identity. He has asked the players to play the style of football that they are comfortable with, and it does seem that the players have found their mojo and are ready for the second half of the season. But talking about the way we conceded the goal, it was truly disappointing to see Militao commit that defensive error which led to the goal. He has been our best centre-back this season, and it was surprising to see him make such an error. He had the rust from the holidays. He was bullied by Enes Unal. He should have been agile enough to pass the ball to Vasquez or Thibaut Courtois, but he wasn't quick to react. Enes Unal made a steal, and it was always going to be very difficult for Thibaut Courtois to stop the shot from that range. But talking about the impact of that goal, we knew that if we wanted an open game, we needed to be the team to score in the first half. Had we scored at least 1 goal in the first half, it would have totally changed the dynamics of the game. No chance Getafe would have played such a defensive game after going behind, but Real Madrid played into the hands of Getafe. They tried to hit us on the counter, and the Real Madrid defense also looked shaky at times. There were a few nervous moments involving the centre-backs and Thibaut Courtois, but as the curtains were pulled on the first half, Real Madrid needed some spark to break down the rugged Getafe defense. Ancelotti needed a solution. His primary attacker, Karim Benzema, probably had one of his worst games in a very long time. His passing and movement was off for the night, and Ancelotti turned to Hazard and Marcelo to try and inspire a comeback, but apart from a few good moments, Real Madrid couldn't conjure anything worthwhile. They hardly tested the Getafe goalkeeper. The only instance which sent some blood rushing in the players was the Casemiro shot, which was very well handled by the keeper, but apart from that, Real Madrid just couldn't create much. It was also a bit surprising when Ancelotti didn't use Valverde in the game. You'd think that he would be one of those players who would have the physicality to go toe-to-toe against the Getafe midfielders. It certainly wouldn't have been easy to contain him. His fresh legs could have been useful, but for some reason Ancelotti looked at the other options available and finally was unable to inspire a comeback. So overall, it was a game which sent Real Madrid a wake-up call. The unbeaten run is over. Real Madrid have tasted the second defeat of the season. However, I would say that as of how the league is set up right now, Real Madrid do have some room to afford a few slip-ups. There's no need to panic. We should expect the players to come back to winning ways very soon. But I would like to highlight that in this month, Real Madrid should turn in some dominant performances. We will be facing PSG next month, and what we want is to build some momentum going into that fixture. We want all our players to have a high level of sharpness. The motivation level should be high. The attitude should be supreme, because we are going to need all of that when we take on PSG in the UCL. Our preparation for that tie should be perfect, because it simply is not going to be an easy one. We have a tough opponent to deal with. Make no mistake, it's going to be a tricky tie, and this month provides us an opportunity to take the right steps in preparing for the mega clash. So those were my thoughts from the game, and let's conclude this video by hearing the thoughts of Carlo Ancelotti. He firstly assessed the performance of the team. As he said, we have to deal with this defeat without overreacting. We are still top of the league and we are looking to the future with real motivation. We reacted well in the 10 minutes following the goal, then we got a bit nervous, lost the ball too often, and were second best in our individual battles. We gifted them the first goal through a player who is usually outstanding defensively. There's not a whole lot to say about the game, other than that we seem to take an extra day's holiday. Then Ancelotti was asked if he would like to point out the things that went wrong in the game, and the coach refused to single out any players. He said, no player should be singled out. There are players who did not play well. Benzema did not have a good game, but pointing fingers at Benzema seems excessive to me. And finally, Ancelotti was inquired about the absence of Hazard from the starting 11, and the coach replied, it was down to the technicalities from training. I knew that they were not going to last 90 minutes because they had COVID, and that we could have Hazard fresher in the second half. He gave in his all, but we didn't create many opportunities. So those were the thoughts of the coach, and that concludes a post-match analysis of Getafe versus Real Madrid. Do let me know what were your thoughts from the game. What were the things that you noticed? Right in the comments below. I'll see you soon. Till then, take care. Glory to Madrid, and as always, a la Madrid.